When I came to the United States, I wanted to continue the fight from there, and I joined a commando group that was to hit, run, do sabotage missions there, and drop people to be infiltrated. But immediately, the Coast Guard and the FBI went after us and told us, you better disband, cut it out, or we're going to throw you in jail and ship you back to Cuba.
Did you think that, to the extent that you knew about the plan, that it was likely to be successful?
You know, I could not conceive that the United States will undertake an operation that magnitude against Cuba and lose. We all thought that that government would crumble in a year or two. Couldn't believe that a communist government would succeed 90 miles from this coast. When Eisenhower started organizing training camps with the CIA, was supposed to be an infiltration teams that then would train groups and go into the Sierras or the underground in Havana and fight. But the operation was so successful that when we were over 1,000 and growing, Kennedy got elected. When I went, about 6 of my group went together to Guatemala, and when we landed there, you know, lo and behold, the moment we landed, we split. They asked for volunteers to stay down there, and 2 of us, me and another one, decided to stay. We were to take paratrooping training. When we got into the training camps, you know, I saw some old C-46 cargo plane and some B-26s light bomber, World War II vintage, you know, 20 to 30 years old plane, and we had no fighters, so we knew we didn't have a chance. But I was told, son, the day you land there, you won't be able to see the skies, meaning they will be covered by American planes. My mission was to fly over, this time was to land in Cuba because the supplies were being dropped in the swamps. They didn't know what the enemy lines were, and they couldn't get supplies, so there was a runway there, and there was my plane and 2 other cargo planes behind mine. I was the only plane that landed because the other 2 planes that were behind turned around for one reason or another. There was one developed mechanical difficulties, the other, it was daylight already and was too dangerous to land. I landed and delivered all the supplies, and were supposed to take the wounded out. We couldn't because it was very dangerous, so we didn't spend much time there. Castro fighters were already flying on the area, and the wounded didn't make it on time, didn't come out. 2 B-26s piloted by Americans were knocked down by the Castro fighters that were there. Probably the only reason we escaped because they were after the B-26.
What could have been done to ensure a successful outcome? The
initial plan was to land in Trinidad. Trinidad is a port city with a loading dock, population, I believe about 10,000. It had a tuberculosis hospital that had like 5,000 political prisoners. So if we landed there in Trinidad, we'll take the town, and obviously the 5,000 prisoners. So all of a sudden, you know, 1,500 invasion forces will grow to 10,000. And then Trinidad had Sierra de Cambrai on the back. So if we couldn't hold the town, then we could hide into the Sierras, and that large number of people would have been a big trouble for the government in the Sierra. Then Kennedy didn't want the operation to be that noisy, they say, because Trinidad was a major city, and we wanted to do it more subdued, more low-key, and choose Base of Peak, which is sort of a dormant resort, and choose Monday because most of the tourists were gone at that time, and isolated area. So he nixed Trinidad plan for the Bay of Peak. That was the first big mistake. There was the equipment that we have on the boats could not be unloaded without a stiff crane because they were too heavy. They had to break it apart and carry over in the ocean, the little boats. So the operation took forever. So Castro sunk two of the main ship while in the process. So we never had the military air cover that we were promised, that we thought we would get. The aircraft carrier there, the exits, they were as close as 7 miles from the Bay of Peak, and with destroyers. It was a small fleet there. So, but they never got authorization and that authorization was denied by the White House. Actually, was I understand was Bobby Kennedy because Jack didn't feel good, had a party, had to turn the whole decision to Bobby Kennedy.
How do you look at Kennedy as a president in light of what happened?
Kennedy, no, with much respect. He was a weak president. He almost took this country to World War III. He was opening the door to Khrushchev, and Kennedy weakened out and back out. By doing that, Khrushchev figured out Kennedy was weak, came in, installed the missile. Cuba, a year later, the October crisis, and the confrontation that happened between both the Navy and the Russian Navy and the ships there is all well known. Candidly, have the American executed the plan like it was initially. All we need is one jet fighter, no more. We would have to succeed. What they did do is almost like everything possible to make the invasion fail. Officially, the invasion day was known as April 17. The 15th, there was supposed to be an air raid, 16 B-26s against 3 military bases, airfield in Cuba to destroy on the ground Castro Air Force. Kennedy cut the planes to 8 from 16 to half because he didn't want it to be too noisy. Our B-26s had no chance against fighters because of the range, flying range. We had to take the tail guns and add tanks to the wings that were jettisoned after we got to Cuba. So we had no way to defend ourselves, but the only support we had, the only way to protect the troops on the ground and the Air Force was the Navy planes that were there. So he never authorized it. Then there was another mission on the 16th that was supposed to hit again whatever was left of Castro, and then the 17th to accompany the invasion. So the mission on the 16th, the air raids on the 16th, got canceled by the White House.
When you look back, I mean, obviously this was a prominent part of your life.
I would have done it the same way all over again, knowing what I knew. Of course, if I knew I was going to fail and not a fool. Great experience and something that I would always feel very proud of. I would do it for this country. I've been here longer than Cuba now, so.